Hello, and welcome back to the OET Speaking Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. We are back with another roleplay breakdown to help you master the OET speaking subtest.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm Alex, and today I'll be playing the anxious parent of an 8-year-old boy.
Today's scenario is set in a medical clinic. The parent is concerned because their son is growing much faster than his classmates and his older brother did at the same age. The boy looks older than 8 and already has a deep voice. On examination, his weight and height are in the 90th percentile at the high end of normal.
That sounds like a complex situation. What are your main objectives as the doctor in this consultation?
My tasks are to reassure the parent about the 90th percentile, investigate family height history, discuss the possibility of precocious puberty, suggest a referral to a pediatric endocrinologist, and explain the necessity of this referral, including the risks of gigantism and pituitary adenomas. Good morning, Alex. I've finished examining your son. I understand you've been quite worried about his growth recently?
Yes, doctor, I am. He is just growing so fast, much faster than any of his classmates. And his older brother certainly wasn't this big at 8 years old. I'm convinced there must be some kind of growth disorder. Is he okay?
I can see why you are concerned, especially when comparing him to others. I've checked his measurements against the standard growth charts. His height and weight are currently in the 90th percentile. I want to reassure you that this is the high end of the scale, but it is still considered within the normal range. It isn't necessarily a problem in itself.
Oh, really? So 90th percentile is normal? That's a relief. But why is he so much bigger than his brother was?
That is what we need to figure out. Genetics often play a big role. Could you tell me, how tall were you and your spouse when you were children? Were either of you particularly tall for your age?
No, not at all. We were both completely average. That's why this is so strange to us.
I see. Given that you were both average height, and noticing that your son has developed a significantly deep voice for an 8-year-old, there is another possibility we should discuss. It is possible he is experiencing what we call precocious puberty.
Precocious puberty? What does that mean?
It essentially means his body might be producing high levels of hormones earlier than usual. This can trigger a significant growth spurt, which would explain why he is taller and sounding older than his classmates.
Oh, I see. Just a hormone spurt. Well, that sounds much better than a disorder. If it's just a growth spurt, I suppose we can just let it run its course?
While it is good to stay calm, we do need to be thorough. I would strongly suggest a referral to a specialist, a pediatric endocrinologist, to investigate this further.
A specialist? But, doctor, you just said he's within the normal range and it's likely just puberty hormones. Why can't we just wait and see if his growth slows down? I don't want to drag him to specialists if we don't have to.
I completely understand your hesitation. However, we need to be careful. While it could be simple precocious puberty, we need to rule out other causes. Specifically, we need to check if his condition is related to excess growth hormone.
Excess growth hormone? Is that dangerous?
If left unchecked, it can lead to a condition called gigantism. Sometimes, this excess hormone is caused by a small benign growth known as a pituitary adenoma.
A growth? You mean like a tumor?
It is usually benign, but these adenomas don't usually stop growing unless they are surgically removed. That is why I want to be proactive. If we catch it early, we can manage it. But if we wait, and it is a hormonal issue, it is much harder to treat later.
I see. I didn't realize. It could be something that needs surgery. I definitely don't want to take that risk with my son. Okay, let's do the referral.
I think that is a very wise decision. I will write up the referral letter for you now. And that brings us to the end of this episode. This was a tricky one, balancing the initial reassurance about the normal percentile with the later need to discuss serious possibilities like gigantism and pituitary adenomas.
Before we finish, could you recap the key communication strategies from today's session?
Absolutely. First, signposting. By using transition phrases like, "Now that we've covered your symptoms, I'd like to move on to your history," you establish clinical leadership. This gives patients a roadmap, reducing anxiety and keeping the consultation focused.
And the second strategy?
Normalizing. When you say it's perfectly understandable to feel this way, many people in your situation have similar concerns. You build a therapeutic alliance. Validating a patient's distress builds trust and moves the conversation from a formal interview to a partnership, which is essential for patient compliance and long-term care.
Thank you, Sarah. Those are invaluable tips, not just for the OET, but for real clinical practice as well.
Thank you for listening to today's OET Speaking Practice podcast. As you listen and practice, focus on clear structure, empathetic communication, and simple, patient-friendly language. Try practicing this role play aloud, switching roles if possible, and timing yourself to match exam conditions. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident and prepared for your OET speaking test. Good luck with your preparation, and we'll see you in the next episode.